next speaker will be Cyrille Jeancolas, and from Durham University with presentation Breakthrough Results in Astrobiology is High-Risk Research Needed. So,
hello everybody. All right, so you can see my screen and you can hear me?
I can hear you, and something. Okay, I see your presentation, and Ryan confirmed that he also sees it, so you can start.
Okay, so thank you very much. So I want to thank the Police Astrobiological Society for organizing this this great conference. So first of all, I would like to say that actually my presentation won't directly tackle education. So when I submitted my abstract, I wasn't very sure what session to choose. But since I'm dealing with the astrobiological community as a whole and the discipline as a whole, I thought this this session could be of interest, and yeah, and I hope it will interest you as well. So I'm a postdoc at Durham University in the UK in philosophy of science, and in an interdisciplinary group composed of philosophers and scientists like biologists and chemists. And we are studying philosophical aspects of astrobiology, and mainly topics of uncertainties and risk. But first, what do we mean by risk? So we are talking about intellectual risk. And when we define an intellectual risky research as research for which the probability of significant scientific return is unknown or known to be significantly below average, and without regard to technological failures or physical damage to humans or equipments. So that means this risk is independent of the technological risk, but depends heavily on the remoteness from the mainstreams. So, for example, if I could pick one example of so-called intellectually risky astrobiology-related projects in the history of astrobiology, you can think of the discovery of the first exoplanets orbiting a solar types star by Mayer and Kellos in the 90s, because this first exoplanet was orbiting its star just in 4 days, and it was super close to the sun and to its star. And at that time, it was considered a bit foolish to look at this this parameter space, because nobody would believe they could find anything and like that. And so since in astrobiology you have so many uncertainties, like for example regarding the origins of life or the existence of extraterrestrial life, there are not strong paradigms. So in a way, this could justify the fact that we could explore very remote ideas, very so-called crazy ideas, because maybe they can lead to expected discovery. And so Peter Vickers, the director of the team I'm in, has published a paper on this issue. And in this paper, he shows that in the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine in the US, put forward the maxim "expect the unexpected" in one of their report on planetology and astrobiology. But so they kind of promote the idea that we should engage with risky projects with unexpected outcome, let's say, but actually all the strategies that are selected in this report are justified by predefined expectation. So they don't really do what they say we should do, actually. And so at the end of this paper, papers argue that we should include for real high-risk projects in the portfolio of funded research if they are not too expensive, the rewards are potentially transformative, and there is not a low or medium risk route to the same and similar rewards. So in this paper, he says that there is a little risk taking in astrobiology, but actually it doesn't say that risk taken is necessary. Maybe because there are so many uncertainties in astrobiology, we could already do lots of low risk, high gain research. And because since the space is so unexplored, anyway, it is very likely that we can discover new thing without taking a lot of risk. So to understand the contribution of intellectual risk in astrobiology, I'm trying to answer the following question: what extent high-risk research actually contributes to breakthrough results in astrobiology? So this is a paper I'm finishing and I'm going to submit, but it's not published yet. So the methodology is twofold. For this study, I cataloged the most impactful astrobiology research of the past 20 years, and I looked for the degree of intellectual risk. And after that, I interviewed some of the concerned researchers to qualitatively understand how their attitudes toward intellectual risk had played out in their work. So first, let's start the first inquiry, which would help us to answer the following question: do the most impactful astrobiology results come from low, medium, or high-risk research? So to answer that, I made a selection of the top-cited research paper related to astrobiology in the Web of Science database that were published between 2001 and 2018. And I emailed the corresponding authors with two questions. First, did you ever consider this research to be medium risk or high risk, in the sense of it being heterodox or contrary to the prevailing viewpoints? And second, did your own results take you by surprise, to show if to understand if they were expecting this kind of result or not? And so I contacted 55 researchers on that matter, and I finally got 40 answers. And so here you can have like a table of all the answers. So the first column is are the name of the paper, and then you have the risk classification that was get after my question. And here you have the FWCI, that stands for Field Weighted Citation Impacts, and this is a measure actually of the impact of a paper, and taking into account the year of publication of the paper and the discipline in which the paper has been published. Sorry. And so all these papers deal with some astrobiology related project topics. And so yeah, so I had like paper that deals with water on Enceladus or on Mars, deals with habitable zone estimations, exoplanets, RNA system and origins of life, and so on and so on. And yeah, there's a kind of a sample of topics that is represented in this very conference actually. So let's look more into the results. Actually, it was quite surprising that I got a very balanced distribution of risk among the selected papers. So it's not items, it's papers. I don't know why it's written like this. And so yeah, so 1/3 of the authors told me their research was low risk, and more or less 1/3 told me it was medium, and the other third was more high risk. But now we can ask ourselves if this is a typical situation for high impact astrobiology research, or is it just like typical of any sample of astrobiology papers, let's say. And to understand that, I have also done the same survey with low impact papers. So here, so the two graph B and C, it's a comparison between NASA Astrobiology Institute funded high impact papers here and NIA funded low impact papers. So I have put this funding consideration to have a criteria of selection, and you can see that most of the low impact paper actually come from low risk research.
I'm sorry, 3 minutes
yeah.
left. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I just started 10 minutes before, but yeah. Okay. I'm going to be quicker. So now you can see here that on average as well, high risk paper have a bigger average impact. So the riskier the research is, the more impactful it is. And here you have as well the distribution of impacts according to the risk. And the top 10% most cited articles actually come from high risk research. And as well, the riskier the research, the more uncertain its impact. So here on the y-axis, you have the standard error of the papers, and here's the risk category. And also, I found that 70%, 75% of the papers contain unexpected results, and risk-taking is associated with the production of unexpected outcome, actually. So here you can see on this graph that, yeah, the riskier your research, the most probable you will be to get unexpected results. And articles with surprising results are on average more impactful than articles with unsurprising results. So overall, surprise, risk-taking, and impact are positively associated. But this quantitative analysis does not show how researchers deal with intellectual risk and what different approaches are associated with more or less risk. So that's why I conducted interviews with 10 of them. And I asked them for what reasons were the research project classified as low, medium, or high risk. So 3 researchers told me their project was low risk because basically they were expecting to generate very specific results. But other told me that it was because they were doing an exploratory research with non-expected, non-specific expected results. That means that they were exploring a parameter space that is so underexplored that anyway, even if they don't really exactly know in advance what they will find, they are pretty sure that they will find something interesting. And 3 other projects were medium risk because they were an update of a result with no guarantee of significant change, and as well because they were exploratory with moderately expected non-specific result. So it's more or less the same as this kind of low risk research, but the only difference is that they were just less sure in their chance of in the odds of finding interesting results. And at the end, 3 projects were high risk because they were again exploratory, but then with a lot of uncertainty and with an unconventional methodology. So qualitatively, it was still an exploratory project, but with just like a shot in the dark and no clue about the probability of getting interesting stuff. So these research projects do not come out of nowhere, actually, but are the results of wider research that enables them. So to better understand them, I asked scientists how they manage intellectual risk in the overall research. So I'm going to be a bit quicker because I think I'm starting to run out of time. So just the take-home message is that the attitudes of researchers are split. The attitudes to risk are split. So 5 told me they were avoiding risk, and 5 told me they were included some risk or embracing it fully. But there is not like a common recipe to engage with risk to generate the breakthrough, let's say. And regarding the astrobiology, the astrobiology discipline as a whole, I asked them if there is enough high-risk funded research in the community. And again, they were split because 5 told me that yes, we need more high-risk research, and 5 told me that we don't need more. So there is not like a consensus on the state of play of the community. And so to conclude, the take-home message are that a risk-balanced portfolio of research is behind the major breakthrough in astrobiology. Risky research and research generating unexpected results make up the majority of breakthrough and are more impactful. Most of the research leading to breakthrough is conducted through exploratory approach, regardless of the risk. And the researchers interviewed has diverse attitudes and opinions regarding risk management in their research and in astrobiology more generally. So this may, as a conclusion, I can bring this suggestion that to foster a significant breakthrough in astrobiology, it is important to maintain a large and medium scale risk balance portfolio with a significant proportion of exploratory projects. And as an illustration, you can look at the upcoming Orbi lander mission to Enceladus that have been selected, and is combining different set of exploratory device with low, medium, and high risk, let's say. And having said that, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I have one question. Do you think that these results, especially that high-risk research, can have bigger impact into the sense? Is it possible that these results can convince institutions to give funding for this research? Because, for example, in Poland, we have this problem that it's more difficult to receive money for it. And for example, we do not have well-developed private financial organizations or philanthropy. So we need to rely on governmental funding.
Yeah, so I hope this study will help people to get more funding to take some risk, because we do show that risk is profitable, and if you want to achieve very impactful breakthrough, it is way more likely to achieve them with high risk rather than just without taking any risk. But the thing is that this whole story is for the moment incomplete, because I haven't looked at all the high risk research that do not end to any publication, for example. So for now, all I somehow show is that yeah, if you want to achieve breakthrough, you should take risks, but at what cost, and how many failures would you have to face? It's not shown in these studies, but there is a growing literature on that subject that shows that anyway, on average, it's still profitable to have a diverse portfolio, even if taking into account all the failed projects.
Okay, so thank you so much for your presentation.